Good evening and thank you so much for joining us right here on MBCI TV. You're watching the program Mwanga, Uongozini, your weekly show that deals with matters leadership in various sectors in the society and also in the country at large. That is, we talk about education, we talk about agriculture, we talk about health, and so on and so forth. And today we want to look and give a glimpse at the educational sector, particularly the state of junior secondary school, even as the school resume this particular month. And today we are going to have a guest who will help us to look at this particular matter in details. And of course, we also are welcoming you to give us your opinions, to give us your reflections on our conversation. And definitely we'll be glad to also see how you respond to this particular conversation. And our guest tonight is Madam Juliana Obonyo, who is an educationist and also a director at Milai School. Thank you so much and karibu sana to the program Mwanga Uongozini.
Karibu.
And of course, you can also give us your opinions on our social media pages. That is MBCI TV, that is on Facebook page, and also MBCI TV official, that is on the YouTube page. And we'll be glad to also look at how you respond to some of these particular some of our conversation tonight. And Madam Juliana, just as we begin, looking at the state of junior secondary school,
Yes.
So far, how do you think we are fared on as a country?
I would say so far so good. The government is more or less ready as we move from grade 6 to grade 7.
Okay.
I would say the government is ready to roll up the program. Mm-hmm. Yes.
Because initially there's been talk in the town that there is a very little information regarding to junior secondary, and some people are saying the teachers are not aware, the teachers don't have information about junior secondary, the parents do not have information or sufficient information in this particular case about this particular stage, and even others have actually even alluded that the government is also not so much aware what is supposed to happen at junior secondary. What is the understanding?
Say 100% transition will not really come to pass. I'll bet because of parents deciding which place to take their children. Number 2, public schools are packed up with learners, so it will give pressure to the infrastructures that are available, from classroom to the laboratories that are needed. And thirdly, you remember the government is supposed to give an allocation of 15,000 per learner for the public schools. So at initial stages, the infrastructure development will be a little bit slower than normal. So, and thirdly, school dropouts, because you remember these are pre-teens. So we'll also give it a factor, a small percentage, to make this become a little failure in terms of learners who opt not to go back to school after 2 months period of time. Yes, again, we'll also talk about, Kenyans are slow to take a new program. Yes, so more or less it will not be 100% intake transition from grade 7 to junior secondary school. But Milai is ready.
Wow.
Yes.
Yeah. And so when you look at this particular transition, what is it that makes it maybe different from what we've witnessed previously, if we could use maybe the 844 system, whereby people would complete class 8 and go to Form 1? Yes.
Yes, so the difference comes in because of the transition. You remember the dropouts, it will be a minimal level of learners who are not going back to school or changing from school to school. But the difference from CBC to 844 is that it will not really be 100% moving from one direction to the next. Yeah. Another thing is because of facility, because parents want where there is facility and infrastructure plus the resources that are needed. So the difference will come only basically because of those two major reasons. Because one, if facilities miss the particular infrastructure that is needed to transit from one school to the next. Because originally 844, the transition was, I would say 80, 90 if it goes too low. Yes, because you come from one school to another with the available facilities. But because of the readiness, infrastructure, plus the finances that are needed to move from one to the other, I think, albeit there will be a little difference this time round. But I appreciate CBC because it prepares the learner to develop the competency-based curriculums and the skills that are needed from primary to junior secondary, so that the skills that are needed, the core skills that the learner needs, is just enhanced.
Wow.
Yes. But 844, it was a major shift, from science to physics, from science to chemistry, biology. So the difference was very major in a way that some learners were wondering, what kind of science is this? Yes, so the home science that is learned in CBC is also just a little bit enhanced from primary to junior secondary. Yeah, if we talk about drawing, it is enhanced from art and craft to technical drawing. Yes. If you talk about health education, it's basically twisting a little bit from science to health education. Things that at least they can see on day-to-day lives. So I would say I appreciate Professor Magoha for the work he has done together with all the stakeholders that have made this thing come to pass. Yeah, so it just enhances a little bit. It's just from a degree to another, as opposed to the 844, which was moving from one direction to another totally different direction. So I would say our learners would benefit as opposed to 844. Yeah.
And in terms of, because you brought up the issue of the entire model, and I know, Madam Director, at least you've been able to interact with the pupils,
yes,
and see some of the effects, some of the impact as far as this particular new model is concerned. And maybe, what is it that maybe has captured your attention that you would say, as a result of this particular new model, the CBC, I think this is a great benefit as opposed to maybe to what we used to see in the 844?
One, I would say learners are interested in learning because, we are supposed to develop a whole human being, both intellectual, physical, moral, and all the other dimensions in life. So the ones who are not sharp, like the A students that we want, at least they have something to show for, because a small percentage is given to theory work and another percentage is given to the practical. What are you able to do with your hands, with your head, with the locally available material? So I think some learners, a good percentage of learners are happy with CBC because they see, they do, as opposed to listening to the teacher and just going home and waiting for marks at the end of the term. And again, something else I've learned about CBC is that it is from a day-to-day experience. Then parents are also involved. Yeah, in a way, they go home, you're supposed to watch the moon and write how it looks this day of the month. You're supposed to cook food at home, take a picture, record how you did it. So it's more practical as opposed to only brain. So a good percentage of Kenyans are not too sharp upstairs. But for the ones who are not too sharp, I think they are good to go. Something else is about 844 raises up cognitive as opposed to intellectual, physical, moral, and other aspects of life. So I would say CBC has helped us develop an entire human being who is able to go outside there and fend for themselves. Like if they're able to make a drawing, they're able to present something in class, the visual art aspect that we are now doing here. Then again, if you're able to cook, you end up in a hotel. If you're able to do home science, well, you can do, work in a hotel or something. So little by little, we are training people for the work environment. So I would appreciate CBC for that.
Wow. And one aspect that came out strongly even when the task force that was formed by the president to be able to find some information about the CBC was the place of the parent. And a number of parents came out, in one way or other, people took it like they were complaining. Maybe from your experience, what do you think is the importance of a parent being so much involved in the learning of their children in relation to this particular model?
Yeah, CBC model is more of practical. So the parents' involvement is one, availability of locally available materials for classwork, so that it does not look so expensive as parents are complaining. So if you are supposed to cook, you're just supposed to cook at home, eat it. So it's not as expensive as we'd say.
Right.
Again, you're using locally available material. You can use carton, you can use, other materials in classwork. You can use egg, the shells of egg. We use luminous material. I would say a little bit expensive, but if you look at the future of the child, you will not complain at all. Yes, at least you'll say my child has a brain or is using locally available materials just to make something out of nothing. Yes, so in terms of materials, I would suggest that parents, you stop complaining, because one, it is developing a child to the future. Yeah, so for now it looks expensive, but in the future it might not really be expensive. Yeah, so maybe I would appreciate the stakeholders and the people who came out with this model, because for the child it is beneficial. For the parent it is stingy, it pinches the pocket a little bit, but in the long run it does not pinch.
Wow.
Yeah.
And of course, now that the model is also supposed or is meant to bring the capabilities of a child, try as much as possible to find out what are some of the strengths, what are some of the talents that this particular child has, and be able to realize them when they are still in that young age. What does this process look like?
Yeah, the process looks like the link between classroom, home, classroom, home. Yes, so it is a back and forth program in a way that the child is able to associate with what they learned in class and reflect it back at home. Yes, so an example is if the parent is a business person, they are able to link how much did the parent use, how much did they get, and is there profit. If it's a visual arts person, you'll see the child saw a picture, drew it. Does it reflect both of them at the same time? Yes, if it's a home science skilled lesson, you'll say, the teacher taught about baking, but did the child practice? What did they miss? So it's more of mirror to mirror, both at home and at school. Yes, and another example is life skills. If we teach about fortitude or honesty, is the child able to reflect what the teacher taught back at home, or saying, Mommy, you are a liar because of this and that? Yes, so somehow it is mirror at home and mirror in school, back and forth program. Yeah.
And of course, again, when you look maybe at where we are today as a society, when you look at the 21st century, what is it that the society demands today? What is it that maybe the career environment demands today that would really benefit children who have actually benefited from a model like this?
I would say our children will have a better place as opposed to the 844 students. One, because of the skills, the core skills that CBC brings out of a child. Not only the cognitive, but also intellectual, moral, and the other aspects of life that we need to develop maybe as an institution or as a school. Yeah, so the practical aspects of life. Yeah, because 844 has developed learners who are more of cognitive as opposed to practical. Yeah, we also have, like visual arts has its own skills.
Right.
Home science has its own skills. Agriculture, business, all those, even health education has its own skills. So somehow it will bring out a better person as opposed to 844.
Welcome back to the program Mwanga Uongozini. You're watching us right here on MBCI TV, and tonight we are looking at, actually focusing on the education sector, particularly the state of junior secondary schools in relation to the competence-based curriculum. And we are having on set Madam Juliana Obonyo, who is the director of Milai School and also an educationist, helping us to look at where are we as a society and what is it that you need to know as far as this particular area is concerned? Continue giving us your opinions on our Facebook page, that is MBCI TV, and also on the YouTube page, that is MBCI TV Official, and we'll be glad to sample some of your feedback as far as this particular discussion is concerned. Now, Madam Director,
Yes.
one of the issues that again has been on debate or debatable is as to whether the pupils who have completed grade 6 are supposed to join the junior secondary in the schools that they had been, or maybe to other schools. What do you think is supposed to maybe to inform such kind of a decision?
I would say key is infrastructure. You remember public schools are packed up with learners. So because of the number of learners, against the facilities that are available and the infrastructure, the classroom, the teachers, I think it would really inform that. Secondly is the teaching personnel preparedness. That is the curriculum plus the teacher and the resources that are needed. Thirdly is the stakeholders' involvement. Remember, CBC is more parents and the teachers and the administration of the school. So that will also address which direction the child might go. Then again, the available resources. Remember, we currently used to have class 7 books. So available resources will mean whether the textbooks will be available and which one will be preferred by KICD. Yes, I think that will.
Wow. And how has it been for Milai School in terms of embracing this curriculum and ensuring that it has what it takes?
Yes, Milai School Milai School vision is to ensure you develop an all-rounded, innovative learner to the highest level. Yes, so far we have infrastructure. That is, classroom is ready with more than 30 desks ready for learners to receive learners. Secondly, we have the integrated science labs. Behind you can see some microscopes ready for learning by the learners. So the science lab is ready. We also have a computer lab ready for the computer studies. We have home science lab ready for home science lessons. We also have a pre-technical studies lab where we have the drawing, and the other skills that are more of pre-technical, geared towards technical institutions learning. Yes, we also have a library with books ready for learning. Yes, so far we are ready. Number 2, we have teachers who are trained, CBC trained, and also well qualified for learning, for grade 7 learning. Thirdly, we have a conducive working environment that is from the teachers so that they can be able to use the resources and the infrastructure to make the learner become better in grade 7. Remember, the teacher is the driver for the class. So if she is not ready, then we are not ready. So we are ready and geared up towards rolling up the program for grade 7 class. Yes.
And actually, talking about that particular area, for purposes of even maybe a parent who is watching, or maybe someone who would also maybe love to maybe enroll their pupils or their children in this particular school.
Yeah.
And as you've said, the place of the teacher is very key. So again, if you are to compare and contrast maybe a teacher who is oriented in the CBC as opposed to maybe to the teacher who is oriented in 844, what is the comparison? How do they come out, if you can distinguish?
One is the teacher for CBC is learner-centered as opposed to marks and as opposed to grades. Yeah. Here we aim at one particular learner and give them their scores. Yes, whether they have attained or not attained. Yes, and there is a softer way of saying it. Yes, so here in CBC, we are more oriented to the learner as opposed to the marks that they got.
Okay.
Remember, this one brings out the physical skills plus the intellectual and the moral skills. So all the 5 issues in one person are able to be brought up, and marks and we are able to categorize and say this learner is here. Yes, so as opposed to 844, where it is only based on the marks you got in a sitting, this one is more broadly based the entire term. Yes.
Because, it's something that has been problematic for quite a number of years, and it has led even to some parents actually having confrontation with their children because of maybe the performance that they had. Now, we are looking at CBC, and we are looking at a child maybe being tested on an area that they are strong in. So when you look at these, as opposed to maybe to where maybe we see some students, but maybe some people actually fail when they did an exam. So how is this going to bring change?
I think it's going to bring change in a way. The mission of Milai School is to nurture and equip learners with quality education, and also to bring the lifelong skills, both from the moral, intellectual, and physical, and also social aspects. So we are supposed to bring out an individual who are able to stand by themselves, and a wholesome individual, yes, out of CBC. Yes, so I feel and strongly feel and appreciate the stakeholders who came out with this program. In a way, when a child is out of here, they can think by themselves, because a human being is a social being. So what they feel they want is what will gear where they want to go. So here we have an IT expert. Here we have a cook. Here we have a cleaner. Here we have a business person. Here we have an agriculture person. Mathematicians will have their place. Business people will have their place. So we are not fixing children towards one particular hole. We are fixing them to the hole they prefer. Like I have one who just likes singing. I have one who just likes, art and craft. But still, they're sharp enough to perform mathematics and integrated science correctly. So I strongly feel and appreciate the people who came out with this in a way that at the end of it all, after grade 6, then we go to junior secondary, then we go to senior secondary. Whatever they learned at the beginning level, they develop it and they further specialize it further. So in one way or the other, we'll have better individuals who are able to work. As opposed to 844, you are just supposed to attain marks. Yes, some courses we learned in college, you don't even apply them. But in this program, I strongly feel when you specialize from one level to the other, you do what you like and you make it better than before. So I strongly feel that this program is going to make us better individuals who are able to do their work correctly. Yes.
And maybe you can also, Madam, talk about the need and how feasible, how practicable is it maybe for people to have a one-on-one relationship with the teacher, and how this can actually impact maybe on the development of that particular child academically. Even in a situation where maybe we have so many children or we have so many pupils, how does CBC help this? Because over time, there has been that particular concern that maybe some pupils would not do well maybe because they did not get attention from the teachers.
Yeah, in junior secondary and also in CBC model, we have almost 12 subjects and one teacher cannot handle. Yes, so that means you'll have around 7 teachers handling that particular learner. So in case they deviate from one, at least they will have 6 different teachers interacting with them one-on-one. So out of 6, you will not lose one who will just be you and them. Yes, because again, this is competency-based curriculum. So it is based on what do I like against what does not give me too much scores. So again, we tell our learners, don't concentrate on one particular one. Yes, in the meantime, because it's junior secondary, they're supposed to do 12. So if they're supposed to do 12, give your strength to all of them. In as much as you want to specialize in one, give it to all of them. Competency-based curriculum, and also the one that we practice in Milai School. The learner has full attention of the teacher. We are not supposed to segregate. Maybe the learner can decide, but now the teacher is supposed to focus on all the learners, because you don't know who will come out the best in that particular one. Yes, so I think CBC will make learner to teacher, friendly environment. Remember, we talked about our school having a wholesome development for the individual. So nurturing the individual intellectually, physically, socially, morally, and in all other aspects of life. So you will not miss 1 mark per teacher in all the other aspects. So morally, a teacher will give you a sticker. Physically, a teacher will give you a sticker for running so well. Intellectually, another teacher might give you a sticker. So out of a class of 40, you will not miss 3 stickers per learner. So I think it makes us want to continue with the CBC program in our particular school. Yeah.
And when a parent back at home realizes that they've seen this particular talent, they've seen this maybe a particular strength, particular capability in their child, in their pupil.
Yeah.
And maybe some of them are what maybe parents would not really consider to be very important. Maybe there is that perception that my child, when they grow up, they can only maybe do well in this and this and this. Maybe very few careers. What are they supposed to do?
Yeah, we are supposed to nurture the individual fully. And that is now the mission of Milai School. To nurture and equip learners with quality education and life skills. Remember that. Yes, so I have a boy who easily cooks. Yes, but intellectually they are good. So parents, we are just supposed to nurture that child. If we bring your assignment and tell you this week we are cooking cakes, just cook cake. Yes, let the learner teach you how the teacher did it locally with charcoal. We don't need ovens too much, but if you have an oven, well and good. So parents, we're just supposed to nurture the child. Physical education is more of the childhood plays we used to do. So if a child is too playful, can we just allow them just to play? You never know, they will score marks when it comes to hop, skip, and jump. Yes, if a child is good with visual arts, like now the one we are doing here, yes, the children will just stand on the table and just prepare a sermon, and they're like, okay, today we are going to talk about this. Just nurture, encourage them, take them to church, let them practice their visual art skills. Yes, if a child is good with business, I have one who is also very good. They can sell puppies, they can sell rabbits, they can sell hens, they can sell anything. Yes, so long as they are getting profit. So parents, we just encourage you to nurture the child and nourish them. Ensure they are good to go when it comes to class, so that when they come, remember CBC is more of parent, teacher, and the learner in the middle. It's a triangular program. So if at all the parent only wants them to perform in mathematics, remember this child might not be very good, but appreciate where their strengths are. In one way or the other, they might like the mathematics in the long run, because they'll calculate how many eggs they need, how many grams of flour in the cake, how much of baking powder in the cake. So mathematics will just come along the way if they embrace the entire of those 12 subjects in a row.
Right.
Yes. So welcome to Milai School.
Juliana Obonyo, Director Milai School.
Yes.
It's been a pleasure having you on Mwanga Uongozini. Thank you so much even for helping our viewer outside there by shedding light on the state of junior secondary schools and also the competence-based curriculum. Thank you so much for your time.
You're welcome.
And that's why we bring it to a close for tonight on the program Mwanga Uongozini. Thank you so much also for being with us and also joining us and also participating. On behalf of the entire crew that has made this a success, we want to wish you a blessed evening. Enjoy the rest of your viewing. My name is Mangicho.